Well, I decided to take a day off work here, have a 4-day weekend, get ripping on this stupid lawnmower here. I think I've got it wired up half-assed correctly. My problem is that, the ignition system that's on this now is not the one that came on it, so the wiring is not quite accurate. I did figure out that this is in fact not an Exmark, this is an MTD. MTD made this exact same model for Exmark, but this happens to be the MTD version. That's why none of my wiring schematics lined up at all. Ooh, fuzzy. So I got that now, and you can see I've got wires hanging all over the place here. I can't get the starter to kick on with the switch. There's a couple of relays hanging out up there that I can hear snapping, but I don't know if they're actually making contact. There's a solenoid in the bottom of my carburetor here that cuts the fuel off. I did have that popping on and off earlier. Now it stopped. So I thought maybe my battery was running low, but I still have 12 volts on the battery. So I came over here and did my little throw voltage to my starter, and the starter wouldn't kick over either. So I chopped back that horrific hunk of wire that I showed you guys earlier. This thing here, I cut that back, and I'm gonna reuse the terminal because I don't have one. So we'll get some positivity going to the starter. We'll get that happening again. These coils are set up to where they run until you ground them. So I've got them wired in a series here now, and that jumps down also to this oil pressure switch, which provides ground when there's no oil pressure. So if this doesn't see oil pressure, it sends ground up to the coil packs and shuts them off. That's cool. It may be a problem here when I'm trying to troubleshoot, so I may have to disconnect that a little bit. Fun thing, those come over to a set of white wires. Why do they run ground for the white? I don't know. They call it magneto. So that's my magneto ground. This then goes over to an oil pressure switch for a light, which doesn't make any sense because you can't provide a light with more ground and have it turn on. So I don't know what's up with that. It's like I said, it's kind of, I'm using like two different wiring diagrams. These yellow wires are supposed to be power wires. And then they go into this plug and they come out on what is green, which doesn't necessarily mean it's ground. Jumps into this connector here, which then goes down on a double set of wires to the engine block, which means it's ground. So there's just some weird shit going on here, and somebody else has done some stuff. So this may be just a little bit whacked out, but I gotta dig into it some more. But we got the carburetor on it. I'd like to squirt some fuel in it, bump it over, and see if I can get it to run. But like I said, I got a solenoid here I gotta bypass, and in order to run this properly, you have to have the cover on, because half of the rest of the throttle linkage is on the top of the cover. And I don't want to put the cover on before I have the wiring figured out. So I think I have the wiring routed pretty good here. By pretty good, I mean probably not right at all. And so coming out of underneath what's going to be the engine cover, I've got my magneto ground, and I've got a power lead that goes to my carburetor solenoid, and then I've got a lead that comes off of my generator. So I think just those three leads is what I need to run this thing. So I think I can kind of put the engine back together up here on top, and we'll see what happens. Gonna be interesting. That's it.